My name is Leila, and this is a story that haunts me every night. I live in a small village surrounded by dense forests and mountains. It was an ordinary day when the first chilling breeze of fear swept through our peaceful lives. A mysterious woman had come to town, said to be an African witch seeking refuge from her dark past. They called her Neka, and she exuded an aura of both allure and danger. Her eyes were an enchanting shade of amber, but beneath that charm lay a malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. The villagers whispered of her magical abilities, but fear kept their curiosity at bay. I was heavily pregnant at the time, expecting twins. My husband, Olu, was a hunter, and I cherished our serene life together. But the arrival of Neka brought an unnerving tension to our village. Pregnant women seemed to vanish, their bellies ripe with life, only to be found days later, lifeless and drained of their essence. The terror escalated when women who had given birth to twins disappeared entirely. Rumors whispered that Neka was stealing these infants to feed her own unborn child. Fear swelled in my heart, for I knew my twins were at risk. I could not bear to lose them, and so I vowed to protect them with all my strength. One night, I awoke to find Olu gone. Panic surged through me as I searched for him, but he was nowhere to be found. Days turned to weeks, and I lived in constant fear for my husband's life. The village was gripped by an air of dread, and the birth of my twins was imminent. As my labor pains began, I knew Neka would seize the opportunity. I hid in the forest, hoping its dense foliage would shelter my babies from her clutches. With each contraction, the pain intensified, but the fear of losing my children was more potent. As I labored in solitude, the forest seemed to echo with an eerie silence. Finally, my twins were born, a son and a daughter. They were my precious miracles, and I held them close to my heart. But my relief was short-lived when a chilling laughter echoed through the trees. Neka stood before me, her eyes ablaze with malice. "You cannot escape your fate," she sneered, her voice sending a shiver down my spine. In that moment, I knew I had to protect my babies at any cost. Summoning the last vestiges of strength, I ran, clutching my newborns tightly. Neka pursued, her dark powers closing in on us. Trees seemed to grasp at us with skeletal limbs, trying to impede our escape. I stumbled and fell, my heart pounding in my chest. Neka was inches away from us, her fingers stretching towards my children. Desperation washed over me, and I whispered a prayer to any benevolent force that would listen. As if by divine intervention, a blinding light erupted, momentarily blinding us all. When the light dissipated, I saw Olu standing tall, a gleaming talisman in his hand. He had returned, and with him, a glimmer of hope. Olu had sought the help of a wise old sage in a distant village. The sage had provided him with the talisman, said to protect against dark magic. As Neka recoiled from the talisman's power, Olu scooped us up and fled once more. We hid in a hidden cave deep in the heart of the mountains. There, we hoped to evade Neka and her nefarious pursuit. But the witch was relentless, and her desperation grew with each passing day. Weeks turned into months, and we lived in isolation. Olu ventured out only to gather food and supplies while I nurtured our twins with love and care. But even in our sanctuary, the tendrils of fear never left us. I knew that one day, Neka would return. Then, as the moon loomed large in the night sky, it happened. A storm raged outside, the heavens crying out in thunderous roars. We huddled together in the cave, praying for safety, but deep down, we knew it was coming. Neka emerged from the shadows, her eyes now darker than ever. "Your time is up," she hissed, her voice sending tremors through the cave. But Olu was prepared. He brandished the talisman, its light flaring to life once more. Neka's power clashed with its protective force, creating a tempest of energy that threatened to tear the cave apart. In that moment, I saw fear in Neka's eyes, a vulnerability that mirrored my own. She had met her match, and for the first time, she knew what it felt like to be haunted. With a final cry of fury, she vanished into the night, leaving us shaken but victorious. We knew the danger wasn't entirely over, but we had gained the upper hand. Olu decided it was time to seek help from neighboring villages to form an alliance against Neka. We were not alone in our struggle, many others had suffered at her hands. Together, we gathered the strength to face the African witch and put an end to her reign of terror. It was a battle of wills and magic, but in the end, we prevailed. Neka was defeated, her dark powers scattered to the winds. Life slowly returned to normal, but the memories of those harrowing days stayed with us forever. My twins grew up strong and healthy, protected by a love that had conquered darkness. And as for Neka, she became a mere cautionary tale, a shadow in the annals of our village's history. But the fear never entirely vanished. It lurked in the corners of our minds, a reminder of the inexplicable horrors that could visit even the most ordinary lives. And though Neka was gone, we knew that evil could wear many faces and that the world was a far stranger place than we had ever imagined.